welcome back to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holton. Today I have with me someone by the name of Kody Hanner. Now, Kody, I promise y'all, people, I think we're supposed to be sisters because she's rocking and rolling. She's beautiful. She's thick. She's confident. Like, literally, she's me, but she's in Idaho, okay? And I'm in Missouri. So Kody, she met me and was like, we're going to be friends. And I'm like, we are going to be friends. But I met Kody at a homeschool expo in St. Louis, which was our second ever homeschool expo to go to. It was our first one with our ducks almost in a row-ish. Okay, so we're still working on getting our ducks in a row, but Kody is a homesteader and a homeschooler. She's a mama. She used to be a hunting guide. I mean, like, this lady is cool. So Kody, tell them, just give us let's hear about your business. Let's hear about your business. Let's hear about your family, because I want people to know that there's two of us out there now. Okay, it's kind of dangerous.
Oh, well, I think it is dangerous. You know, I heard about you when we were in Missouri. People kept coming over and telling me about how awesome this other lady was, and I had to go check you out. And I was so excited because I feel so out of place at those events because, you know, I'm just a small town girl, and there's all these big homeschool companies and people, and I was like, Brandy is my people, and I need to go find her and connect. So...
Oh my God. Okay, so you said small town girl, and my brain went living in a lonely world. like it was playing in my head when you said that.
Well, I mean, that's actually my podcast. In the heading says, like, I'm a small town enthusiast because I just feel like there's something special about these communities that we live in. But
girl, small town, big deal. Small town, big deal.
Right?
Yeah.
What is that, famous in a small town, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, so you own something like what homestead education, homestead science, like tell them the difference between those two.
Yep, the homestead education is my business. That's where I have my podcast. That my goal is just to help you and your kids grow your own food and grow as a person. I have homestead science, which is my homeschool science curriculum. That is a full-year science curriculum. It is an ag curriculum based on small-scale farming and self-sufficiency.
Girl, and you're walking that walk and talking that talk because you got a homestead and you're homeschooling. So, like, tell them the age range of your children.
So I have kids from 3 to, almost 20 years old. Of course, he's my stepson, so he was born when I was like 17. So we'll just roll with that one.
Yes. But you have them, I mean, you're homeschooling, you're homesteading, because you know what? You know how many times I find people that they tell me they're an expert in something, but I'm like, but you're not doing it. How you going to be an expert in something you ain't doing? But you're doing it and doing it well.
Oh, I appreciate that. You know, ag has been my whole life, like from day one. I grew up on a cattle ranch in Northern California. My dad was a hunting guide. He owned shipyards. I grew up in shipyards. Like I can work anywhere and with anyone, especially if it's blue collar.
Oh yeah, man. You know what? My dad. Oh my gosh, he was a row cropper, and man, he had me working. Okay, this sounds like I should be from another country, but he had me working in the rice fields. We had rice because we were real close to the Red River, and we were able to have water from that to irrigate.
And I was like, how do you do rice? And you were in Arkansas, though. I was thinking
that was Texas. No, that was Texas right then. But the Red River went right through the farm where my dad leased property. So, so we had water pulled out of the Red River. And by the way, that river is red. It was appropriately named, okay? Anyway, like red onions are purple. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the Red River is actually red. And, he had me filling up. I had to hold levy bags, and then we'd have people out there, you know, we're in waders working in the rice field. And I'm like, Dad, like, we need to be like hot dogs in baseball. Like, we're rice farmers. Like, how are we rice farmers? And then he did soybeans. We did corn. And then disaster hit, and it was like a drought for like a couple of years in a row. Well, that right there equated to bankruptcy of the family farm, right? That my dad was doing, and then he became he had a trucking business after that, and so whenever you say you can talk to blue collar people, I'm there with you. My mom always had horses. We always had a few head of cattle, and we always had goats and everything else that you could have on a farm. But yeah, that was my Texas thing. Was I was a rice farmer.
See, I was a cattle rancher in Northern California, where everybody thinks that California is just all Hollywood. And when I moved to North Idaho, people would say, "Oh, are you ready for small town life?" And I'm like, "Oh, honey, I'm rednecker than you."
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you know what? People always think that, they think Chicago is the way that Illinois is. Okay. No, Illinois is some farmers where you don't see nothing and you're just like, is my vehicle going to run out of fuel before I get to the next freaking gas station? Okay. That's the way Illinois is. Okay. And then
we road tripped through there recently.
Oh yeah, the only thing there is in some areas is mosquitoes on your windshield, and then other than that, there's no life out there other than like row crops, right? And then some of the best cowboys in the world come from New York. Everybody thinks that New York City, like the whole state's like that. It's not like that at all. But
not at all.
No, there's country people everywhere. As soon as I hear somebody's from California, I'm like, oh, they're city. But no, there's all sorts of, that's a huge state. That's like thinking somebody from Texas is in like Dallas,
Which I have to say, being down in Texas, whenever it was we were down there recently, I felt like I was in an episode of the Jetsons. Like, there's these overpasses that are up in the air and everything. I was like, when I see Texas, I don't see this.
Texas scares me to death. I actually, luckily, my husband was driving because he's paranoid if I drive. I'm a good driver, but he still would rather have, not let go of that control of him driving. And so
That's my husband too.
I'm like, perfect. I can jack around on TikTok and look at Facebook or I can nap. I'm usually asleep within 3 minutes. Okay. But
I always say I'm going to work and then I fall asleep.
Yeah, as soon as I get still, I fall asleep. But I took a picture. I was so afraid of us driving through, Dallas at nighttime. And I took a picture of it and I was like, man, driving through the city makes me miss gravel roads. And I want to smell my horse right now. And so many people were like, yes, I understand. And they were like, oh, but it's pretty. And I was like, I have anxiety right now. So.
Right. When we got home from Texas and I spent 2 days in my garden barefoot because I was like, I need to reconnect. It was too much concrete for me.
So you're in Idaho and you have multiple books, or you have one primary book. What all do you have for our homesteaders and our homeschoolers?
So I have, my curriculum goes all the way from preschool through high school. So I have, preschool coloring books on facts about animals and activities you can do in the kitchen to kind of learn about homesteading. I have a grade school curriculum that is so kids can learn where their food comes from and how that fits into their life. It's actually called Build Your Own Homestead. And while they're learning about each thing, they're building a homestead on a 2x3 poster. And by the time they're done, they have this completely covered poster of everything that goes on a homestead and how they all work together in like a permaculture type system.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay.
Then I have my expansion pack for those younger kids that makes it where older grammar school kids can do that, where parents can go deeper into the conversations with them. Mm-hmm. And then I have my junior high and high school set that is a full year science curriculum. I mean, it equates to similar to what I did in Intro to Ag in college.
Wow. Okay.
I was an ag major. I worked in commercial ag for 10 years. So when I'm putting into this is from years of farming experience, years of hunting experience, and years of working in commercial ag before we turned homesteader and realized that we wanted to grow our food a little bit more sustainably.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, I was like, I think you have a couple of courses also, don't you?
Yeah, I have a course on starting homestead businesses, and I also have one on incubating chicks and how to market them.
Okay.
And then I have a book on the Homesteader's Guide to Relocating, and it helps families move from like suburban and urban areas to rural areas and like what you need to look for. It has all the laws for every single state for homeschooling and for food freedom.
Girl, do you know? So after the 2020 COVID, okay, so after that happened, man, I've got so many people that they are exiting those large cities, droves of people, and I am so proud of them, and they are venturing out into a world that they do not know. They know, like, hey, where do you want to go out to eat? And then they have, like, everything in the world within, like, 9 minutes from them it takes me 40 minutes to go to Walmart to get, like, it's a whole new world. And then, man, I've sold horses to some people that they're first-time horse owners, and they are in their 50s and in their 60s, and they've always wanted a horse. Well, there is so much they have got to learn. But then I tell people all the time, you can't go to 4-H when you're 40. Where do they go?
True.
And, man, so I have designed this course called Horsemanship with Brandy, and it is just stuff because we live on a ranch. We actually won Missouri's Best Ranch for 2024. I am so proud of that. But
yes,
it's in the horse industry, I see people getting taken advantage of. They'll be like, "You got to put this big money into this to learn about this," and I'm like, "No, no. Like, it's not like that at all." And a lot of people that are new into horses, they're getting taken advantage of. And so I'm like, enough's enough. Here, I'm going to help them with how much should you feed them, how to age a horse by looking at its teeth. Because a lot of times people will be told that they're purchasing like an 8-year-old horse, and the thing is like on its deathbed. It's got one leg in the grave. Oh. And I'm like, that's not cool. That's not good for the people, and it's not good for the horses. Or they'll sell them something that's injured or something that should not be ridden by a novice. So,
because that animal's not going to be taken care of properly if they aren't properly educated, and it's not on the person who doesn't know. I call it blissful ignorance, and that's why I've put together a lot of the stuff I have, because we're so far removed from the family farm. We're so far removed from where our food comes from. And even with all this movement of influencers right now, what's relatable and what's reliable? And that's where I want to stand, is I want to be reliable and help people understand rural life.
Yeah.
I tell people this story a lot, and it was when I went to the Missouri Homeschool Conference. My daughter and I got there. We had 7 bags of all of our stuff to go to the event, and the place where I'd rented a car was off the airport, and somebody told me I had to get an Uber. I didn't know how to get an Uber. I was like, do I call an Uber? Like, the last time I needed a taxi, I was leaving the bar and needed to call a taxi to get me home. How do you call an Uber? Like, nobody could give me a phone number. They looked at me like I was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, hey,
I didn't know you had to have an app. And it's not that I'm an ignorant person. It's that I don't live in a community that Uber is a thing. I don't even think there's an Uber anywhere in North Idaho.
No. Well, where we're at, you would just call a friend if you needed a ride somewhere. Like, you would, like, thank you for being a friend. Okay, so I have something so funny. We have this event we have a ranch called Von Holton Ranch. We believe in it so much, we put our last name on it, right? So it's Von Holton Ranch. And I host this event called Chicks in the Sticks. Well, Chicks in the Sticks is an all-inclusive women's only event, and all the food's included, all their camping's included. We have massage therapists come in. They get a T-shirt. We have a painting instructor.
Oh, man.
Dude,
I come just for the massage.
I know. And you know what? You know how it's 3 days if it's over the weekend, or 4 days during the week. And some of them you have to be at least 50 to come to. I only have one of those, but it's only $400 a person. And
wow,
I know,
that's an amazing price.
Well, we didn't. Our area.
What are you feeding them? Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
Heck, no, dude. We're feeding them like, we have a taco night, and then one night we go to Miss Mary Ella's house. That is a Mennonite lady, and she can allow 24 people in her house is what will fit in her table because it's so big. And she does everything from scratch, girl. Even the butter is made from scratch. Okay, so our Chicks in the Sticks is huge, and we actually have a Facebook page just for chicks, and I'm kind of cute because I'm doing CHIX, Chicks in the Sticks, and then sticks I spell correctly. But anyways, okay, long freaking way to get to what I was going to say about your Uber. Okay, so let's bring it back to the Uber, right? So I had these two ladies that came, and I promise you their names were Eileen and Aileen, okay? And they're not sisters. And like literally one is just as short as can be, and the other one's just a big old tall girl, right? And they're so freaking
like
sweet.
Mutt
Yes. Well, I was thinking of Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay, from Twins, that old movie. But, dude, their full-time job, they say they're Yoder toters. They are the driving people for the Mennonites and Amish, and so they call themselves Yoder toters because...
No.
Is that not, like, one of them does local stuff, just moving them around, you know, like within the state, and then the other one is a Yoder toter that takes them across state lines and does, you know, large groups and need to go somewhere. And so that's what they do for full-time jobs. And I'm like, and they have gotten so close with the families, but I'm sure, I bet Yoder, whenever I told...
What the heck with Uber, I'll call a Yoder toter.
I know. Well, and they didn't even...
My neighbors are all Mennonite.
You need to be their Yoder toter. I told that to the Mennonites, like, you know what you call somebody that moves the Mennonites around? We call them Yoder toters. She thought that was so funny. She was like, that's hilarious. Oh, and she said... I'm
going to say, though, the Mennonites that live next door to me have a nicer truck than I do. So, you know.
Oh, my gosh. Our truck, we have a 2015. We got a 4-door Ford. But that thing it's almost got 300,000 miles on it because we put so many miles on it whenever we built the ranch, you know. So,
When I had my twins, I bought a 2005 Toyota Sequoia, and I still drive that thing, and it's got 365,000 miles on it.
Oh, man. Well, your vehicle is kind of like what my body's going to look like whenever I'm dead in the grave. It's going to most definitely, like, it's not going to be in pristine
Hey, mine still looks pretty good. It's just missing a mirror and one headlight's hanging out.
Okay, that's not bad at all. Girl, our property...
I hit a herd of deer the other day, like a whole herd.
Oh my gosh. We live right beside this old country singer named Leroy Van Dyke. Like, he's our next door neighbor, and he doesn't, his trees are real grown up, and it's he's 93 or 94. And, so it's really thick, right? And all the deer know that their families have got to live there for 100 years, right? So we have herds of like 30 that are around us. And my God, we have hit turkey. We have hit deer. My brother hit a hawk. No, my husband hit a hawk. My brother hit a turkey. We're just like, oh my, get out of here, people. Like, we're always like, get away from us because we have so many animals that live close to us because of Leroy's farmland that's, real thick in cedar trees. It's like, it's almost too, it's a lot. It's a lot of deer there. Anyways, so
that reminds me of I got a turkey with a bow one time, and I called my dad and told him because it was the first one I'd gotten hunting not with him. I was sitting on my kitchen sink calling it in with a call, and then I shot it out the window. And I called my dad and told him, and he goes, I've got a turkey with a rifle, a shotgun, and a 57 Chevy, but I ain't never got one with my bow.
Well, speaking of bows, you just opened the door for me, right? You totally just
I did, absolutely.
You did that. That's because you love me. Oh my gosh. So
it is.
I teach mounted archery, and we have a mounted archery course that we have here, like a permanent course. And then I have a mounted archery online course because before you can do it mounted, you need to do it really, really well from the ground. But most archery...
Then I will never be able to do it from a horse because I don't do it very well from the ground.
Oh. Well, this right here, normal archery, you have you can do a 2 or a 3-finger draw. Most people would do a 3-finger draw. But this is a thumb release. And it's not a put your bow down and then draw your bow. It is a push-pull at the same time from the bow up in the air. And then you only hold it for 1 second. Both eyes are open because your horse is running and you have the reins down. And it's put me on a couple of magazine covers because I do it from my mule, Jojo, my mule. And anyways, but I sell a complete line of USA made products. Everything's USA made except for the bow because it's not an American sport. Like the bow actually, it needs to be imported. But everything else we have USA made, like the back quiver, the thigh quiver if you want that. We have an archery bow bag. I mean, the glove, the arrows we have made here. But anyways, they can find that at horsemanshipwithbrandy.com. Hey, I'll tell you, here we go. You ready to make fun of me in your world? Are you ready? So,
maybe.
My first ever hunting experience was, my husband's not a big hunter, but his brother Mark loves hunting. Okay, so he took me hunting. So, I was shooting with a 30-30 lever action gun. Okay, so if I say anything weird, it's because I don't know what I'm really talking about. Anyways, so me and him, deer finally comes up. I shoot it. Okay. Well, I'm not used to a lever action. I'm better with a handgun than I am a 30-30. Plus a 30-30 sounds like, like this way too loud. Okay. The 30-30 is a pretty loud gun.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I shoot this deer and it's not even that far away. And that thing continues to eat and it didn't even run off. And well, then I had issues because the lever, I didn't bring it down far enough for it to expel the cartridge and then for it to reload the next bullet. And I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And Mark is over here like, for the love of goodness, child. And he's like, you're an adult. You have how many college degrees? And I'm like, shut up. I don't have a degree in 30-30 lever action guns, right? Anyways, so I'm messing around with this thing, and then he's just like, good God, do you want me to just shoot it? And I was like, sure. So he shoots one time, and then the thing drops. Okay, so we go over there and go look at it, and I was like, Mark, look, you shot it in the head. And he was like, Brandy, I shot it in the heart. He's like, you shot it in the head. And he's like, where were you aiming for? And I was like, the heart. So, that thing had so much kick, and that's why I didn't like full on get it really bad into the head. It was up to the top. So it was just stunned, and it was still alive, and it was chewing grass, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not the hunting expedition that I was expecting. Anyway, so Mark loves that story because he's just like, she's so awful. And I'm like, I tried really hard, okay? So.
Oh, no. I had this client one time, we were out pig hunting, and we saw this big old coyote, and he was probably only 25 yards off the road. And he's like, can I shoot it? I was like, go for it. This guy literally, unloaded his whole clip and reloaded and still never hit this coyote. And things just standing there and started walking off. And I was just like, I am embarrassed for you, man. But I'm pretty sure he was drunk because then he tried to shoot our dove decoys. So I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah, all that thing had to do was just stand still and it was perfectly safe. So. Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this is why I tell everybody that there's two of us out there. I mean, here we are, but we kind of complement each other. I do mounted archery, and you were probably really good at regular archery, traditional archery for United States.
I'm okay. I am a dead-on shot with a gun, though.
Oh, see, I'm good with a handgun. I'm good with a 9mm. I don't know why I have that skill. I want to be better with a rifle. And I'm not.
I shoot a revolver because I've never liked regular handguns.
Well, and I'll tell you the truth, what I really like is just from I would rather kick and punch. I did martial arts for 23 years and fought in 5 countries as a heavyweight. And actually, you know what I'm going to do in like 2 weeks is I'm going to go watch USA Team Trials. That's in Des Moines, Iowa. And I think I'm going to come back and fight as a 44-year-old because I miss it. And the only reason I stopped fighting because I tried to go to the Olympics. I tried to go to the 04, the 08, and the 12 Olympics. The closest I ever got was 08, but it still didn't happen because there was 2 organizations that were kind of battling for the right to be able to choose the Olympians. Usually it's the AAU, but there was another association that had gotten in before the AAU with Taekwondo. And plus, there's 8 weight divisions, but in Olympic Taekwondo, they only allow 4 weight divisions to go to the Olympics. So even if you're the top person and you've won team trials, your weight division might not get chosen. So it's whack. It's whack. But my goal is to make it to USA Team Trials, but I want to fight in the 18 to 32-year-old division, even though at the end of this year, I'll be 44, but I'm considered handicapped because of my age. But I've been looking at these heavyweights. Usually heavyweights are at least 6 foot tall and a minimum of 200 pounds. Even though there's 8 weight divisions, you're considered heavyweight at 156 pounds. And I bet there's a bunch of ladies right now that are listening to this and like, oh my God, I'll be a heavyweight. I'm a heavyweight. I got to lose weight. But yeah, I think I want to, just because whenever we opened up the ranch, I had to stop fighting, and I missed the team. And it's not like white trash fighting. It's like a very, very competitive
just out back
game.
behind the trailer park and kick your ass.
Yeah, whoa, yeah, we're gonna just fight. No, I have 3 college degrees, and most of the people that are on that fighting team have like 2 or 3 college degrees, and they fought in collegiates, and it's just like a very high stakes game of chess. That's all it is. It's really just a game, but you could knock somebody out in it, and then you win praise for knocking them out. So, but it's not like hillbilly like that. Well, it's not like I'm going to turn my hat around backwards and then chug a quart of freaking motor oil and then go fight. It's not like that at all. So
I can see that though.
Well, I do have that in me. You know what I mean? Because you don't hold levee bags in a rice farm in Texas with that heat could you imagine being around all that water in Texas? Girl, there was water moccasins and everything. It was hot.
Oof.
Yeah, you don't.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you don't come from that being like, oh, this is fine. So.
Hey, you know what? I grew up in California. There's rattlesnakes everywhere. So.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
My dad tells me
I love being in Idaho. Like if the kids walk up on the porch with a snake, I know that they're good. So.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, look at that one. It eats rats. Awesome. Instead of, oh, it's completely venomous. My dad had a friend that was a mail carrier. Okay, and there was a rattlesnake in front of this mailbox. Well, the snake was stretched all out. Well, the mail carrier thought it was dead. So she reached down and goes to cut the rattler off because she knew that her kid would love that. So she's got shorts on, okay? It doesn't get as bad as what you think I did right there with that foreshadowing, okay? But that rattlesnake bit her in her inner thigh, and she had all sorts of medical issues because the blood flow, it got circulated really fast. It wasn't like getting bit in your finger and you can put something around your arm to keep the blood flow from slowing it. No, freaking inner thigh. And this lady wasn't a large lady, she was smaller. It wrecked her freaking world. And I'm like, if I ever see a rattlesnake, I don't want it. I'm going to just have to find the rattler somewhere. I'm never going to cut it off a snake because now I'm paranoid. So.
Right. Well, I was hunting with my dad when I was 7 months pregnant with my twins. And my dad had just had his knees replaced. And so we're in his truck, and he was always the type that was like, if the truck fits, it's the road.
Yeah.
And we both had to be in the truck. We were road hunting because, like I said, I'm 7 months pregnant with twins. He just had his knees replaced. It's, 110 degrees in California, August. And we're cutting through this field, and he hit this freaking boulder right in the middle of the road in the road. It went on a road, a field.
Yeah.
And because the grass was so high, he couldn't see it. And so, he's cussing and everything else, and he gets out, backs the truck up, and the two of us get out, and we're trying to look, like, we're both trying to squat down and see if the radiator got hit. And neither of us can squat because, I'm a house. And I hear this, like, and I'm like, I think that's your radiator. And I stand up, and I realize the sound is coming from behind me.
Oh, no.
And I turn, and there is this big old rattlesnake just, up, like, ready to strike. And luckily my dad, because of his knees, he always has a walking stick. But because he'd spent so much time in the woods, his walking stick had a fork on the end of it for rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
And he was able to pin it down and get it, get its head cut off before it got either of us.
Well, yeah, because, if it took you out, that's one bite, and that could have caused three problems, with you being pregnant with twins. Oh,
yep.
Man. My husband does not
Needless
do
to
snakes.
say, our hunting trip was over that day because it was the radiator.
Oh, man. Well, we sound like the most country girls in the world. Like, we sound like we're going to get off of here and, like Laura Ingalls and I are going to go sit around and drink coffee, but only if they've got them in stock at the general store. So,
I don't know. I kind of always imagined myself sipping whiskey with Annie Oakley. So,
girl,
this is your kickoff to country tough, not the prairie life.
Oh, yeah. We did trademark the term country tough with it spelled correctly, and we do have our homesteading that we're starting with. It's Country Tough Homesteading, and right now I have the Facebook page, but the website is going to be up in oh my gosh, probably, I don't know, less than 14 days. So, Country Tough Homesteading. We have Country Tough that's going to be a t-shirt company, and just we have a lot of stuff with Country Tough. We have Country Tough Trail Versatility. We're the Country Tough Mounted Archers. It just sounds better than we love Von Holton, but we thought that more people would connect with Country Tough than our last name, because everybody would want their last name. So, do love Country Tough.
I like it too. We're looking at changing our homestead's name, but it's actually, we went by Cedar Ridge Ranch because my dad had Oak Ridge Ranch, and him having passed away before we bought our first ranch, we decided to call it Cedar Ridge Ranch because there's cedars growing on our property.
Yeah.
And, we donated a lot to the community and stuff under the name Cedar Ridge Ranch. But now that we're opening our farm store in the spring, we are strongly considering going to Hanner Homestead.
Well, I think that's just a beautiful story, and it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, and we can even keep our animals, like when we sell our animals for show and stuff, we can keep that Cedar Ridge Ranch. But as far as the store, I think it's going to be Cedar Ridge Ranch store.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, Hanner Homestead store.
Hanner Homestead? You're going to do that instead of the Cedar. Okay. Girl,
I think the animals will stick under Cedar Ridge, but I think our store is going to be Hanner Homestead.
Okay. Dude, I love it. I love last names being put on stuff, because a lot of people now just, I don't know. I don't really like the direction a lot of our country was headed, but I think that we got our cage rattled a little bit, a whole little bit, a lot.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. We got our cage rattled, and I think people are ready to be okay, let's figure out how to do some stuff so I'm not so reliant upon other people. And, boy, in the world that we live in, with us having a ranch, you having a homestead, and there's just there's so many options out there of who to follow and who to listen to. But, man, my heart's in the right place. I know your heart's in the right place. I know that our price points are so freaking affordable because what I'm trying to do is I would rather have 4 or 5 happy clients than one client that could afford something. I want to make sure that it's affordable so that I can I want to make a difference in this world. And
like I said, I want to reach the kids that are so far removed from the family farm. They don't have the skills and the values anymore to provide for themselves.
Yeah. My husband's business, his Building with David, is the at-home wood shop that we do. And we send them all of the pieces, but they're not finished, but we teach them how to finish them, and then they build with him through video, and then we've wrote a curriculum that goes along with it. So that's at buildingwithdavid.com. But our logo in that is large construction skills learned through small projects. And yes, we're teaching them how to build, but the confidence of children and of adults is so low right now. And I know that the suicide rate is up, depression is up, and you've got to do something. You need to do something to get that back up. And I think building with their hands and learning how to do skills and learning how to do stuff. So, because nothing is that hard, it's just a lot of knowledge, but it's nothing is impossible. But they've just got to, it's nothing like going to school as an adult. But now with your program, you're able to start helping them with those skills at a younger age. So they're going to be a more capable adult. And then we take people at all ages. Our stuff is building confidence of children, but we have a ton of adults that take our courses because maybe their father was good. Too. Yeah.
Probably 25% of my high school curriculum is adults buying it because it's such a well laid out how to plan and budget for a homestead.
My horse knowledge one course is probably 50-50 between adults and children that are taking it, because it doesn't matter how old you are. If you love a horse, you love a horse, Right now, one of my best friends, she's 59. She's at horse camp right now for adults. She's at a 3-week-long intensive horse camp. Because she's like, I'm tired of not knowing, and I was like, I get it. So anyways, yeah, our horse, we run into, in the homeschool world, a lot of times it's the mom that's staying at home with the kids to teach them. And then maybe the father goes and works, right? But that father, they want to do things with the kids, but the father might be exceptional at computer engineering or might be super good at whatever task. Maybe they're a bank manager, okay? Maybe they do marketing. Well, their family, they just didn't have the skills of working with wood. So it's not we're better or anything like that. No, they have skills that we don't have at all. I have a marketing coach. I have a fitness instructor. I have people that help me in their areas. And so we're just a person that's there to help them in that area.
Well, and something else I see with this, both your curriculum and mine, I have 2 degrees in accounting, but I'm busy. I hired an accountant.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's kind of the same thing with when I created my curriculum, my thought with it was I created it for other homestead families originally who wanted that open and go. Yeah. And, for me, I look at your Building with David and I'm like, I know how to build stuff, but how do I teach my kids how to build stuff?
Yep.
And I love that this is here not only for those who don't know how to do it, but those that do and want that starting point with their kids.
Girl, a lot of the people that buy our stuff has one. So there's either one family member that doesn't know how to do any of that, and they're like, I'm going to learn with the kids. Or the other people that we a lot of times sell to is they do have an able-bodied person that knows how to do it. But for them to stop and go get the pieces and to, cut them out.
Well, and they aren't curriculum writers either.
No.
We're providing the curriculum.
Right. Well, and I have a degree in biology with a minor in physics. I have a degree in criminal justice, and then I have my master's in teaching. And I was an educator for 11 years. I taught 4th grade 1 year. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And then
I can imagine.
Oh my God, there's so little squirrels. I taught middle school. I taught high school science for the bulk of it because that's what I, should be teaching there. And then I taught college for 1 summer. So,
nice.
But for me to write their curriculum and for me to, have an actual ranch, Missouri's Best Ranch, and for I didn't go to school to be a teacher. I actually was working in banking for a little bit, and I taught martial arts. And I actually taught police officers for a little while. I have a very varied or vast. I've done a lot of stuff, and for me to write a curriculum for their child, it's going to be very well diverse. It's not going to be somebody that went to school and got straight A's and then went to college and got straight A's and then became a school teacher. Like and a lot of those teachers struggle. And do you know that, I think it's 50% of teachers quit. I think it might even be higher than that in the first 5 years of teaching. And it's because they were a wonderful student, and now they're trying to teach, and the students are not wonderful students. You know what I mean? Some of them are the student that they were, but the vast majority of them are not the student that they were. I was the student that they would have issues with. I was in alternative school for a little bit. I was, full contact fighting. I was fighting internationally by the age of 14. I was kind of rough. Well, I was rough, And so, I don't know. For them to get a curriculum written by somebody that has that kind of background, it really is
the life experience.
Yeah. It's a lot more than what you're going to just download and get something free off the internet. No, I'm not free off of the internet, But anyways.
Same with me. They're getting the years of ranching, they get the ag degree. I have my bachelor's in animal science and worked in the commercial ag where I wrote curriculum in the food plant teaching the workers how to run the food plant. And that's when I wrote my curriculum. I was writing it to my neurodivergent twins that need that extra explanation of what life skills are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I always say that if your instructor doesn't have an instructor, then you need a new instructor. And so I am always trying to get better. I hire people twice a year. I have my horsemanship instructor come in, and every year he has grown so much because, he just went to, it's not Brazil. It's another country that starts with a B. Nope, it's escaping my brain. Whenever I need the word, it's not here. Okay. Anyways, he just came back from another country where he got to experience all of those horseback riders. Well, most people are not going to have that experience. So, anyways, I have him. His name is Lee Hart. Big shout out to him. I have him come to Von Holton Ranch twice a year. He's an amazing man. Another shout out to people that have greatly influenced me. I have Rebecca Austin. She does a lot of marketing coaching with me, and she's taught me a lot of things. Big shout out to you because, man, you inspire me. You know what? With us starting Country Tough Homesteading, I'm just what can we do differently? Because I don't want to step on your toes because I love this girl and I want to be an affiliate. And I want to help her and I want to have my own lane because of mutual respect and loyalty.
No, I totally get it. And, I think you and I just have a different vision with where we're going. And I think they go really well together.
Oh yeah, girl, we peanut butter and jelly. For sure. So how do people find your stuff?
Well, you can find me at the homesteadeducation.com. That is with gotta love that one. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, and that's where I hang out the most.
Okay, so the homesteadeducation.com. So you got to put THE. Oh, girl.
Yep, and then I have my podcast, The Homestead Education, as well.
Okay. Yeah, because I was a guest on yours, and now you're a guest on mine, and we're just piggybacking. So I'll tell you something funny with you having to put the in yours. Girl, we trademarked Country Tough, so I try to buy countrytough.com. Well, of course, somebody had just bought that URL, and then they're just trying to sell it. So they want $10,000 for it. And I'm like, you can have 10,000 middle fingers for it. Okay, no way. So
right.
I'm like, no, bro. So we bought country-tough.com with an actual dash, not spelling out DHSH, of course, not doing that. But then it allowed me to talk about how we're not when you're born or whenever you die. It's all about the dash. Dude, I'm a lifelong learner, and I want everybody to be a lifelong learner, and I want them to be healthy, and I want them to be self-sustainable. And I just want the world to be a better place. Whenever I'm gone, I want to leave a footprint on this planet of positivity and helping other people help their families move forward. So, anyways.
I love it.
So, all right. If anybody's interested in finding our stuff, you can find us at vonholtenranch.com. Von Holten is VONHOLTEN, vonholtenranch.com. And then my first name is Brandy, Brandy. My last name, Von Holten. And I tell everybody it doesn't have an A in it, okay? There's Van Holtens and Von Holtens. Make sure and educate yourself. It's VON and HOLTEN, brandyvonholten.com. And then my online, I usually have everything linked. They can find everything from everything. But Horsemanship with Brandy has the horse stuff on there. And Building with David, you don't have to spell our German last name. It's just Horsemanship with Brandy and Building with David. So do you have something big coming up in September of this year?
I do. Yes. In September, I am hosting the first annual Homestead Harvesters Community Conference up in North Idaho. It is a conference to celebrate our spouses, our families, our land, and our community while building our homestead.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. So they're going to have vendors there. I bet you're going to have lectures.
I'm really excited. Yep, we're going to have speakers on these inspirational topics. Kids are invited. We're going to have events for the kids. We're having a VIP luncheon and then also a farm-to-table dinner with live music afterwards right down on the Kootenai River.
Girl, you are having a hoedown. That's what that is.
I am. I'm so excited. And if you guys want to check that out, you can find that at homesteadharvesters.com.
Homesteadharvesters.com. Girl, another thing I want to give you snaps on is your wording. You are so marketable. Those are beautiful names for things. I mean, it just radiates what people need.
When I thought of the harvesters, I realized there was more to our homesteads than all the work we put into it. So I figured as harvesters, we should be reaping the benefits that we sow.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? That's like Von Holten Ranch, girl. We're a horse trail riding and camping facility. And I'm like, we're also homesteaders. I mean, like, girl, I used my freeze dryer and freeze dried basil yesterday and then ground it up today. And then I freeze dried blueberries yesterday as well. And then I'm doing an ice water bath. And then I made kombucha today. And I'm like, oh yeah, we are homesteaders.
And you have to remember homesteading. You have to remember that homesteading is a state of mind.
Yeah. Well, I just view this as normal for me. You know what I mean? Like, this is our normal. And I realize the more I'm out and about that our normal is not everybody else's normal. So I'm happy
Absolutely
to help them.
not.
All right. Hey, guys. So her name is Kody, and it's Kody with a K. It's Kody. And then her last name is Hanner, Hanner, which, once again, we have another parallel because when I was fighting, which I'm hoping to fight next year also, I was Glamour with the hammer, okay? And I actually gave that name to my favorite horse, and we just call her Glamour now. But I think she did take on that personality of Glamour with the hammer because she's our smallest horse, but then her personality writes checks all the time, and none of the horses try to cash them because they're afraid of her. So she got a lot of bark.
Good girl.
Oh, I love her. I love strong women. So, all right. Well, thank you for tuning in to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holten.